Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. In this video, I am going to discuss filter functions in DAX. First, understand what is the filter and how the filter works. Okay, so let's say if you want to perform the calculation in DAX, you may need to apply the filter, but how the filter is applied? Okay, so there are conditional operators, obviously. So lesser than, greater than, lesser than, or is equal to, or let's say not is equal to, or we can say the greater than or is equal to, even lesser than or is equal to. So these operators are used to define the condition, to define the filter expression. And based on this operator, the filter functions are able to modify the context in which the calculation happens. Okay. So let's say you may want to find out the sum of sales. This is just an example. And by specific, I mean, sum of sales for specific country. So what you can do, you can use these operators in filters, meaning as in filters, okay, to specify the filter expressions for the country is equal to, let's say, specific India. Okay, so if you are looking for like this, you can give the condition. Right? And if you go give the condition, so what it is going to do, it is obviously it is going to return us either true or false. Okay, true or false, right? And based on this true, whenever there is true, meaning the expression returns true for any specific row or record of the table, that will be considered in the calculation. And if it returns the false, that records, meaning the row or value from that row will be ignored. And this is how the filter works in Power BI. So there are many functions in Power BI to work with the filters, okay, while performing the calculations to modify the filters. This is the list of functions. Here I mentioned, obviously, DAX filter functions are very powerful functions. Even it looks sometimes complex, but yes. So this help us to do the very advanced calculation with respect to the data analysis in Power BI. Okay, not in Power BI only. If you are using DAX in Excel or analytical service, so there also it supports. So in this video, I am going to discuss only two functions. First one is filter function. Another one is calculate table function. So these two functions returns a table based on the specified conditions. So let's understand how this works. Even filtering functions lets you to manipulate the data context to create the dynamic calculation. That's what I said sometime before. It modify the context, meaning it filter the table based on true and false. Okay, so let's see how we can use the filter function, how we can use the calculate functions to return the table. If you look at the definition on Microsoft Documents for the DAX reference, so you will get to know that the filter function, okay, there is in filter functions type, there is a function which is named as a filter. So you can use that functions. But yes, the return type of that function is table. Okay, even if I create, so if you are using a function, okay, that function returns a table, so you must be use that function to create a new table. You can use that function. So obviously I'm going to create the new table. Okay, here what I will do, I will give the function name itself for this table, and I will say filter. Okay, so filter is function. Okay, then let's say if you look at the definition of this function, okay, so here you can see, okay, let me change my color. Here you can see the definition. The moment I click in this, okay, it returns a table that has been filtered. Okay, so you can create the new table which will have the filtered records. Okay, filtered record. And obviously, as it says, it returns a table, meaning again, if you use the filter function, it is only going to return the table that you can use in the calculations, DAX calculations. You can modify the table using these functions by specifying the filter expressions. Okay, let's see. So if I say I wanted to use the cells, okay, this table I would like to return, but with modified rows, with filtered data. Okay, and how you can use the filter expression. So obviously, as I said, you need to use the conditional operators to put the filter condition. Okay, and based on the true false. Okay, so I'm going to write the expression here. Okay, if I say okay, so if you use the filter function, if you use the filter function, so this will not allow to give the condition from the another tables. Okay, even this will not allows you to put the conditions from another table. Let's say if I wanted to apply the filter based on occupation, this is not giving the suggestion, meaning you can consider that this is not valid in this. Okay, then how to use or what to use? Obviously, from the same table itself, you need to use the columns. Okay, so if I say sales, you can see all these. Okay, so you can use the only columns from sales table itself to filter the data. Right, if I say sales category, and here I'm going to use the conditional operator, that is equal to, and if I say bikes, so this is what my condition. Now if I hit the enter button, you can see it has returned 50,205 rows. If you look at the down here, it shows the number of rows, right? Out of, if I go to the original table, out of 60,398. Okay, let me go down, go at the end, and if I filter the data for the bikes category manually, and if I see how many rows are filtered, so 50,205 rows are there. Okay, so yes, so can I say this filter function modifies or filter the table, and even it returns the filtered records, right? And very easily what you can do, you can use this table to perform the calculation. Okay, and how this is going to help? Obviously, this will meaning the your data is filtered, so you don't need to apply the filter in case of performing other calculations. Okay, you even using another function, if you are using some function, or and if you want to take, okay, so what you can do, you can directly take the sum. Let's say if I wanted to calculate sum of cells and I will say for bikes category, right? Sum of sales for bikes category. So yes, there are many functions that help us to calculate this in many ways, but since we are using, or we are here to see the filter function, so I am using sum. And what I will do, I will use the data which is already filtered. So I will say filter and filter of, if I say sales amount, okay, so this column I can use directly, right? And if I hit the enter button, So now this is going to give me the output, right? It is able to return me the sum of sales amount for the bikes category. And this is how it works. Let me remove this. Fine. This is how it works. But okay, as it returns the filter, okay, meaning the filter function returns the table, it is not necessary to create the table every time. Okay, you can use this expression as a filter. Okay, in case of another DAX expression. So here what I will do, I will use, okay, I will use another function that is called sum of x. Okay, sum of x. Okay, so this function help us to find sales amount. Okay, if I say sum of x, okay, so here it asks for the first time, it asks for the table, and even you can use that filter function here also to return the table. This will return the modified table, right? Meaning the filter function is going to return the modified table. Filter, I will say filter. And in case of filter, okay, let me hit the enter button so that it will give me the suggestions. Filter, I'm going to filter the sales table. Fine. On next line, what is my filter expression? So obviously, I will say sales category is equal to bikes. So this complete filter expression is going to return me the new table. Okay. Out of this, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the sum of, okay, so this is what my table and expression is here. Okay, so obviously it is going to perform the sum. Okay, but what is the expression? So I will say sales amount. Sales amount. This is what my expression, meaning expression here is not exactly the filter. So this column says, even we can say this column name says that sum of this column. Okay, so this parameter, okay, instead of column, I will say this parameter I used as a column name. So this sum of x function will go and take this sum from this sales amount column. But yes, before that we modified the table, right? Here we modified the table. So it will return me the sum of sales only for the bike category. And if I hit the enter button, okay, and if I go and if I select, okay, so in the two ways you can use. Okay, so not necessary to return the table, even create the table. That will unnecessarily increase your, okay, so this is not my, okay, so yes, this is my another measure that I just created by using sum of x, right? Even we are getting the same value in both the cases, then why we should go and create the new table, right? So why filter functions, I mean the table expressions, sorry, filter functions that returns, okay, there are many filter functions that returns the table. Even there are many functions that returns the table after modifying, okay, by performing some kind of calculations. So if you want to return the table somewhere in your DAX calculation, so what you can do, you can use these functions to filter the data before performing the calculation. Okay. Even there is another way to find out the same value. But yes, so this is how we can use filter function also to return the tables in DAX expression. In DAX expression. So this kind of expression, if we use in calculation, okay, so this kind of expressions are referred as a table filter expressions in the calculation. Even there are other types of filter expression, that is Boolean filter expression, and even some functions are there in Power BI that referred as an filter modification function. So we will see that part. So we not in this, but in another video I will discuss it. Right. So this is about the filter function. Then what is the use of calculate function, calculate table function? Obviously, okay, it is again calculate table function is going to return the table. Okay, let's go and just try to create the new table. Okay, if I say table tools and if I say new table, and I will say calculate table. Okay, this is what my function name. I will use the same function here, calculate table. Even here also you can see that evaluates a table expression in a context modified by filters. Right? Meaning, okay, in case of filter, we have seen only one filter expression was allowed, only one parameter. Okay, that we can use and an or operator there to, but logical and an or operator there to add the filters, more conditions. But here in case of table, you can add any number of separate conditions that all the filter conditions are separated by logical and operator internally. You need not to specify anything and like this. So let me say this is going to filter the sales table. Right. And if I say, okay, territory, country. Now I would like to filter the data only for United States country. United States country. Okay. So this is what my first filter. And if I hit the enter button, okay, let's say United States, there may be United, okay, this should be United States, not United States. Spelling mistake was there. Let's go to this and let's say United States. Okay, and let's understand what is this. Yes, it is there. Let me try with the France also. Okay, fine. Even this is not returning a record. Okay, there may be, no, there will not be any issue. If I use the condition from sales category is equal to, if I again say bikes, this works, then why the another condition was not there working? There may be a problem with that. Okay, so with the territory table, what I will do, I will use another condition. Okay, so this is able to filter for the bikes. Okay, but instead of that, what I wanted to do actually, I wanted to use the territory. Instead of that, I will say category, and here I will use the product category is equal to bikes. Yes, it is able to return. See, earlier we used or we have saw filter function. That function was not accepting the conditions from other tables which are in relationship with the sales table. But here in case of calculate table, you can give the conditions from another table. But yes, it is required to have the relationship between these two tables. Okay, if I go to the model, okay, and if I show something to you, okay, there may be a incorrect relationship I have built. Oh, right. So incorrect relationship. I need to modify this relationship here. sales territory key. Okay. And if I say apply changes, so now this will work for the country also. Fine. So for the by category, yes, it is able to return me the record. Even out of these, I may want to filter the records for United States country. So I can use that. Even I can say territory country is equal to, I will say United States. Okay, now it is going to work. Okay, yes, here it works. You can see that the number of rows are now 4,907 rows. Right. So this is how it works. Even this is how it reduces the data from the table, okay, based on the conditions. But what or how these conditions are considered? Okay, Boolean and operator is used internally for each of the condition, and if all the conditions are returns true for any specific record, that record will be only written here. Otherwise, it is not going to return anything. Okay, even this kind of meaning the expressions which yields, okay, expression which yields the Boolean output, Boolean value. So this kind of expressions are considered as an Boolean filtered expressions. Boolean filter expressions. And if you use the table, okay, in case of calculation, which returns a virtual table, so that kind of expressions are you considered as an table filtered expression. So these are the two types, okay, in filter. So now I have modified this. Even this can be used, but the limitations or what is the difference, okay, in between filter function and calculate table function. So you will be able to identify here. So if I go, okay, and if I look at the filter function, so filter function will never allow you to give the condition from another table, even though there is a relationship. But yes, calculate table function allows you to give the condition from another table, the tables which are in relationship. Okay, it will then that is not going to work if there is no relationship between two tables. Okay, so you will not be able to use the filter in calculate. So same thing I can do here with the help of calculate table function also. If I say sum of x, okay, and using calc table, I will say calc table. Okay, this is short form I am going to use. And even if I say sum of x, so sum of x function is going to ask you the table, and I'm going to return this calculate table here. Okay, so there is table name that we used, but instead of using the calculate table name, what I would suggest to use the calculate table function. Okay, so I'm going to use the virtual table instead of creating the table. I always suggest to use this kind of expressions, table filter expressions in your DAX functions to perform the filtered calculations. Okay, and if I say sales, now I'm going to apply the filter from another table. So if I say category, okay, the product category is equal to okay, bikes, and even country is equal to, I will say France. Okay, anything you can use. It depends. And all these conditions, even not only two, okay, there are many conditions you can specify in calculate table. Okay, 3, 4, 5. There is no limit for the conditions. Each of the condition specified here is internally separated by AND operator, logical AND operator. So to return the records for this table, calculate table function, so what it will do, it will check both the conditions must be true. Okay, in that case, it is going to work. So now if I say this, now I am going to use the sales amount column. Sales amount column. Okay. to take the sum of that column. And I will hit the enter button. The moment you hit enter button, it will perform the calculation. Otherwise, it is not going to perform the calculation. Now, if I use new card to see the amount, okay, sum of X calculate table. So this is what my sum of sales for the category bikes and country France. For the country France. Okay, you can go and simply change the country here and you will get the different result. I will say United States. United States. Okay, this is what my country. Now you can see that it shows 9 million is the total sales amount. Okay, so this is about the calculate table function and calculate filter function. Both the expressions, both the functions are used to return the table. Okay, both returns table, but the difference is, okay, if I say difference, filter function allows filter expression, okay, expression from, okay, double S should be there, expression from the same table only, and only one filter expression is allowed. In case of filter function, if I copy this, obviously, instead of spending much time to write once again, I will say calculate table function allows filter expression. Okay, here it should be from related tables and same tables also. Even it allows any number of filter expressions. Okay, it allows any number of filter expressions. Okay, so this is what the difference between calculate table and filter function. But yes, both the functions are used to return the table after filtering the rows. Okay, I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day. Please do not forget to subscribe the web channel.